Hello and welcome back to AutoKnerd, the place where the car industry attempts to get its soul back. My name's Andrew Sardone, and today I'm going to be walking through one of the most overlooked parts of the automotive sales process. It's one of those spots that if we can find a shortcut, we usually will go ahead and take that shortcut. And trust me, most of us, when it comes to this particular topic, have been doing it very, very wrong. And I'm going to iron this out, and with a little luck, make sure that you have every tool in your arsenal to be able to set that test drive up for killer success. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. Time to talk about information discovery. Here we go. We're going to kick today off with a story. Back in the day when I first started selling, this whole CX thing, customer experience, I really didn't know too much about or even care about. And the reason is I was brand new. I was just trying to figure out the ropes here. But there's a story that sticks with me that I kick myself with an awful lot. And that's when we just get into this mode of almost like window shopping people. But when you're new, you really don't know what window shopping is. And you don't really realize that prejudging tends to put you on a path of lack of sale. So, this particular story comes out of my first few weeks in the business. Customer came in and they told me exactly what they were looking for. Perfect. They nodded, they smiled. I gave them pretty much all the information that they were looking for, like I said. And 5 minutes later, we were on a test drive. Pretty simple. They came in, I want that. Cool. Let me grab a key, pull it around, take it for test drive. Done. Right. The whole thing. It would have been, it felt like it was super easy. Yet you might be setting yourself up for disaster because the test drive is an extension of needs assessment, but it's an extension in such a way that you to gather more information along the drive so you can leverage that to make a stronger case as to why this car has positive transformational change for this customer's life. But this particular one, the customer, I thought I was doing everything right. I asked the questions. They said yes. Trunk big enough? Yes. Will it fit your kids? Yes. Will the dog fit in the hatch? Yes. We're good. Good. We're going in the right direction. But we get on the test drive and it was awkward, like super awkward. I didn't know them. They didn't know me. I asked some questions. They answered the questions, but still we didn't know who we were. They asked me some questions about the tech. I answered those things, and it hit me like a wrecking ball because we got back to the dealership, and the first thing out of their mouth when they got out of the car is, "Thanks, we'll just think about it." And then I got to thinking about it. Where did it go wrong? Everything seemed perfectly fine. They came in, we found the car, they drove the car that they wanted, and yet nothing. The reason that I never saw this individual again is because I didn't actually work on the actual sale. I worked on the vehicle, but customers don't come in to essentially buy cars and get high payments. It's not a customers don't come in to buy cars or when customers come in, it's not about the money. It's not about the product. This relates back to the human. The fact that I didn't earn their story, I didn't earn their roadmap, means that I completely missed the human part here. And if you haven't earned the right to hear the story from the customer, it means they don't trust you. It means that there's just nothing there. And if you haven't earned that trust, you haven't really earned the right to take them on a test drive now, have you? The reason that you haven't earned the right yet is because most consultants during this time use the needs assessment as a warm up. Like going through a checklist, you smile, you shake hands, and ask, what brings you in today? And then, bam, apparently, we then know exactly what the customer wants. We do a feature dump and we just spew all the data on top of them. They're not confused. We walk our inventory. They grab the most expensive thing that's out there because that's the one that they apparently need. And then we go for a spin and we hope for the best. Well, if you've listened to my podcast long enough, you'll notice that hope isn't something that I like to drive on. It's building up our skills, so hope really isn't necessarily a thing anymore. But hey, I get it. The floor can be very slow at times, and we want to always work in this area where we have a lot of momentum built up. You want to do something. You don't just want to sit there. Heck, I sold cars in Wisconsin for a long time. You want to talk about dead of winter? You have no idea what cold is. People will not leave their homes. And when somebody finally comes on in the dealership, through the snow, through the hard rain, through whatever is going on outside, we tend to jump on them and run because we have all this pent up energy and it makes a lot of sense, right? Traffic slow, we got to do something. But the truth is this: if the discovery feels rushed to you, it's absolutely meaningless to them. No part of the purchasing process is about us. It just isn't. Our opinion just doesn't matter here. The skilled consultants in this business have taken that salesperson out of them and gone full on guide, full on partner, full on consultant. This is where we get that information from the customer. So, to help you out with this, I've built up the Y decoder. You can download it from the webpage and directly in the show notes. You'll see it on AutoKnerd.com, or in the show notes, a little link to AutoKnerd.com. And that goes to the AutoKnerd dispatch. Every week, I send out a tool that accommodates each and every one of my podcasts. This particular one is meant to really pull back the curtain so you can see what is going on during the needs assessment to make sure that you get the information right. Because awkward interviews never really turn into real conversations. And if they do, it took you a lot of effort to get to that point. And you don't want to work with a customer for any more than 2 hours, and the customer doesn't want to be there for any more than 45 minutes, maybe even less. So we got to get on board with figuring out how to pull this thing off. So we're going to flip the lens and we're going to look at things through the customer's eyes. Imagine you're the customer. You're having a rough morning, maybe a rough year. You walk into a dealership hoping that you can get something that's going to put a massive smile on your face. A consultant walks up to you and you say, a reflex objection, just looking. Because it feels safer and it feels guarded and it feels like a fence that you can put up. Now imagine the consultant comes straight up to you, looks you in the face, and he says, "Let me show you this brand new vehicle that just came off the truck." Who the heck cares? They might be aligning it with a vehicle that you drove on in with, hoping that might be the vehicle that you're looking for. But the sales consultant just dives right into a pitch. You're not being heard, you're not understood. People don't want to be interrogated. It doesn't feel great, it doesn't sell cars, and it sure as hell doesn't bump up profit. If you want your profit margins to increase, people need to willingly want to spend money with you. But you feel down in your gut that this just does not feel right. You want to leave. Here's how we frame this over at AutoNerd. Discovery isn't about qualifying, it's about aligning. Learning who somebody is so you can walk alongside them and assist them. Your job isn't to filter out weak leads. Your job is to simply find the signal in the customer's story so you can build on it, which means that empathy has to lead the process every single time without fail. And it also means one other really big thing: you got to slow down. I know you hear it a lot, and I know you tell yourself that a lot, but you have to slow down. Remember, 85% of the conversation has to be about the customer. Only 15% is about the product, which means that the customer story is so much more important. They're going to tell you exactly why the car is the best one for them. You just need to get that information. Let's strategize and break this down. Step one, you got to build permission up to ask additional probing questions. You're not a cop, you're not an officer, you're not somebody that is out there meant to interrogate. We avoid people like that deliberately because we don't really want to be interrogated and put in that frustrating situation. It really starts with our tone, and it doesn't start with terrible tactics that we may have picked up along the line. So try this. Hey, I totally get it. I'm not here to pressure you, actually, at all. It doesn't help me, and it sure as heck doesn't help you. I just want to make your time the most useful here as possible. Mind if I ask you a few questions so I don't waste any of our time? Emotionally connected openers will move the customer to a position, for example, at your desk, where they want to carry on the conversation. Once somebody feels that they are being heard, usually if you ask them a few more questions about themselves to keep it going, they'll start to spill their guts as to why exactly they are there in the first place. So here's three for you just to give you some food for thought, and these are all on this tool for this week. What changed recently that brought you on in? It's pretty open, not much pressure in there. What does your current car not do well for you? that again brought you in today? Or what needs to be different this time around with your vehicle selection? And with these questions, since they are fairly low on the pressure scale, this is where we get to start to see these invisible signals from the customer start to pop up. And with a little practice, you'll get pretty good at it, where you can start to see the customer squirm a little bit from one question to the next, which means that you may need softer questions that may get the conversation rolling well. But on the step three here, with these invisible signals, these indicators will let you start to know if they're rushed, if they're anxious, or if they're trying to keep someone else calm, like their kid or their spouse that might be sitting next to them. These clues matter. Reason being is that if they are feeling anxious, again, as I said, you can back them up a little bit. And maybe you're starting at square one might be step three or four for them. So we got to back it off a little bit. But also, with step four here, you got to mirror and also validate. Say what they said back to you and let them hear themselves in your voice. In a past podcast, the last one, we talked about how verifying that information confirms to the customer that they feel sold. Here's that yes out of them, which is again another micro commitment that leads to the mega commitment. But that's where the trust really starts is when people start to notice that, wait, hold on, you're actually listening to me? Yes, I am actually listening to you. I've been to two sales consultants already, and neither one has pulled around the right color or what have you. Thing is that this is going to go a long way simply by giving the information back. This is where that discovery deep dive tool that I built for this week really plays in nicely. It keeps us on track. It gives us a few questions. Grab it if you want. It's in the show notes. Just click one of the links down there and feel free, grab it. I'll send you an additional tool every week too on top of it, just for funsies. There are some scripts, there are some examples up in there to again help you out. Let me give you a little bit of ammo from this. Here are three real situations. Situation one, you got a high energy shopper coming on in. She's bouncing all around all over the place, trying to move fast through the deal. You say something along the lines like, hey, it looks like you've clearly done your homework. Mind if I just ask you a few things so we can make the most of your time here today? This is going to slow somebody down. It's like holding up a big fluffy stop sign and saying, hey, you don't need to go at a million miles an hour. Actually, if you go at a million miles an hour, we may actually miss something. Now, I don't want to kill momentum here. I just essentially want to put out a big safety net in front of them and say, hey, it's okay. I'm in this for you, just so you know. Now, the skeptical buyer is going to be a little bit different, the person that just simply won't open up. Try something like this. Hey, you know what? Totally fair, man. If I were you, I'd be cautious too. You want me to just give you the space for a quick moment, or would it help if I ask you a couple questions, just help you narrow a few things down? Heck, I have 300 cars here and they're all uniquely different. This puts that pillow again back in front of the customer. And it allows them to know that, hey, I can sit here, I can think. This person, this sales consultant in front of me, heck, this salesperson, this used car consultant is not trying to just crowbar the answers directly out of my brain. Nobody wants that. They want to freely be able to give the information while also giving some information about why they're looking for this particular car. Let's give them the ability to do that. And then we have the vague tire kicker, the I'm just lookings of the world. I swear there's a section in every single library in the country of books that are written for I'm just lookings. It's an anomaly in many cases. But these people usually fall into three different categories. Either they're just curious, they're almost ready, they're secretly hoping the right one just jumps out to them. If any of those fit, it's time to restructure the conversation and look at situation one and two and maybe pull out one of those questions. The point is that connection needs to be made with an I'm just looking. Humor, reframing things, every single word with this individual matters. Now, if you're a manager and you're noticing that your consultants just aren't latching on to the customers, your sales seem to be dropping, your gross profits are low, I almost guarantee you this is exactly where the problem is. Not having the right information to be able to tailor a presentation that is weighted enough to get the customer to say, oh, yes, this is perfect. I'm in is terrible. You got to get that correct information in order to show the customer the car properly. If the discovery phase is feeling like a rat race and you feel like you're just rushing to that drive in the end to get on the test drive, you already lost. You're not on the right car. You don't know who this person is, and you have no information that you can leverage to paint a good picture on the vehicle of why the customer would want this thing. We're going to cover all of that next week in part two of the test drive trap. Now, in part one here, as I mentioned a few times along, there is a tool to go along with this, and it's in the show notes. Just click the little link, and there you go. You can download the tool right off my page, completely free. It's all yours. There will be upgrades coming in the future. One thing I suggest, subscribe to the AutoNerd Dispatch. The AutoNerd Dispatch will give you all the information that you need as far as this episode and what's coming up next. In addition to that, I always drop another tool into that to just help you on your path to be the best possible version of yourself. So remember, if you feel yourself going too quickly, listen harder, slow down, and remember the car isn't the hero in any car deal. The customer is. And at the same time, you're just a guide. Our jobs are actually pretty easy and a whole lot of fun when we finally figure out what the moral to our story is. So, you, my friend, you're damn good at what you do. Just tell yourself that. Put a smile on your face, get out there, spread the kindness, spread the caring, subscribe to the dispatch. I'll talk to y'all next week. Have a great one. Auto Nerd out.